Since WrestleMania 41 is on the horizon, I thought we'd look back at WrestleMania 40 and do a tier list ranking of every single match that took place on that show. Now, WrestleMania 40, yes, was special in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but we're going to see if there were matches that maybe, we have different opinions on, myself and you, the viewers watching. Maybe there's different matches that we thought weren't as great that maybe we've gone back and rewatched that don't live up to expectations, or maybe that, there are certain matches that we didn't give enough credit for that we've gone back and rewatched that actually are a lot better than, we anticipated at that time. I like the way WrestleMania 41 is shaped up this year. Can it be better than WrestleMania 40? That is yet to be determined, but I think it has potential to do so. Before we start, please make sure to subscribe, like, share, comment below, and turn on all notifications to be updated with all things pro wrestling related right here on this platform, and to be updated when we go live every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time Zone for the No Name Wrestling Podcast. We do allow the viewers and subscribers to come on the pod to chat with us from time to time, so be on the lookout for that if you're looking for engagement. Okay, so these are all the matches that took place at WrestleMania 40. We're going to start with the women's matches. Crazy there was only 3 women's matches on the show, man. I feel like, with WrestleMania being 2 nights now, they could add some more women's matches to the show, especially ones that don't involve championships that you need to build storylines around that I think would be mad interesting. But let's start with Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. This was a very good match. Really enjoyed this match right here. A lot of people did, I think, have high expectations of this match maybe being the best women's match on that WrestleMania. I personally don't think it was, and I'm going to tell you which one I think was better than that one, but nonetheless, very, very good match, and the correct winner won as well. Next, we got Bayley versus Io. This was also a very good match. This was the best women's match on that WrestleMania, if you ask me. Fantastic match. I feel like this match had very low expectations too. Like the bar was kind of lowered because the feud started off really good and then it kind of got lackluster. But compared to Rhea versus Becky, I think a lot of people were expecting Rhea and Becky to blow that match out of the water. Nah, man. People sleep on Bayley. I feel like, she's one of those legends that is a legend, but doesn't get talked about enough being in that stratosphere, if that makes sense. And Io is phenomenal as well. This women's tag team match. Jade, Naomi, and Bianca versus Damage Control, which was Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. I don't know, man. This match wasn't... I gotta be completely honest here, though. I don't think that match was as good as these 2 matches, if I'm being honest. I mean, it was kind of mid, if you ask me. It wasn't like terrible, but I don't think it was really that good, if I'm being completely honest here. The triple threat for the U.S. title definitely was a good match, man. Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. That was probably one of my favorite matches of the week to watch right there. Despite how people may feel about Logan Paul, he's just a natural athlete, man. Like, he's picked up the business aspect of WWE, his in-ring ability, very fast in the short amount of time he's been in WWE. Very impressive. Randy Orton, obviously, legend. Kevin Owens, veteran. So that triple threat was really, really good. That was definitely one of my favorite matches for the U.S. Championship. This match also was one of my favorite matches. I'm going to put in the good category. AJ Styles versus LA Knight. This might be the most slept-on, underrated match of that WrestleMania, if we're being honest, bro. Like, WrestleMania 40, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, AJ Styles, LA Knight cooked up a very good banger, if you ask me. I thought the build was pretty good as well. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed the build going into that Mania, personally. I liked the whole invasion when LA Knight showed up to his crib and everything. You're like, what the freak is happening, bro? So, I liked the build. Thought the match was pretty solid as well. I do feel like they haven't fully capitalized on LA Knight's momentum around that time frame with his popularity, bro, because his popularity was at a peak at that WrestleMania going in, and of course he would become the U.S. champion later that year and everything, and then he lost to Shinsuke for no reason because they did nothing with Shinsuke as U.S. champion. But I do feel like they haven't fully capitalize on the momentum of LA Knight to really put him up in the stratosphere of like where Jey Uso's at, because Jey Uso, they're finally capitalizing on his popularity momentum, which is the right call if you ask me, because they have a superstar on their hands, right in the middle of like the palm of their hands on a silver platter. And I feel like, they're finally starting to believe in Jey Uso to be one of their top guys, whether people like him or not. I feel like LA Knight deserves that kind of rub too, bro. Like, if they really want to give him that push, the fans, the audience, I think, would 100% behind it. Majority of them, at least. This match right here Very good match. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. This actually, now I take back what I said about AJ versus LNA. This might have been the most underrated slept-on match of that Mania, bro. That didn't really have that much of a spectacular build, but I don't know, man. Snoop Dogg being on commentary was funny as hell, and man, they cooked up something pretty cool, man. Like that, I think it was a Philly street fight or something like that. This match, I think, overexceeded expectations, bro. Like, going into it, this didn't have a build that I think majority of the people were fully invested into, and it wasn't something that most people were excited about. Like, for some people, they're probably going to say this was their bathroom break match right here. But you know what? They put on a pretty damn good match, bro. I was fully entertained watching this match, and it's crazy to see that AOP and Bobby Lashley are no longer in WWE now, too, so... You know, I like what they're doing with the Street Profits now, the tag team champions. They got attitude, they got aggression. Karrion Kross's character serves purpose, you know, no matter who he's feuding with. I thought they were going to put him in a storyline with Sami Zayn going into Mania, but we haven't seen Sami Zayn since Elimination Chamber. He's been MIA, so I don't even know if bro's going to be on WrestleMania 41. Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins was also a very good match right here. I still feel like, you know, Drew needs his moment and shine as well, bro. Like, it just bothers me just a little bit. I fully understand why they have Drew kind of be the back burner guy, but it's like, when is he going to give his flowers and due diligence? Because we know 2020, before the pandemic, was supposed to be his year where he could have potentially been the face of the company with that babyface push, bro, if, you know, WrestleMania that year had fans and everything when he fought Brock Lesnar. And I don't know, the last few years he's been the downfall guy to help put others over or to help propel other storylines, and it's like, bro, we get it, but I feel like Drew definitely needs his due diligence, bro. Like, he had to put Big E over as champion, had to put Bobby Lashley over as champion, had to put Gunther over as IC champion, had to put Seth Rollins over as champion before this match happened, had to put Roman Reigns over as champion during his run with that storyline with the bloodline stuff, had to put Damian Priest over as champion in his hometown in Scotland, bro, to propel the CM Punk storyline. So there have been reasons for him to lose those big matches, but it's like, bro, it's been 5 years, you know, since Drew won the Royal Rumble and was heading into WrestleMania to potentially be that guy, bro. And ever since 2021, it's been 4 years, you know, we're talking a 4-year time span, bro. He's had to put all these other champions over, and it's like, man, I feel like Drew really deserves his crowning moment, bro. He was one of the MVPs of WWE last year. He's great at promos. He's good in the ring, has a good presentation. He has superstar written all over him. So I'm hoping at some point he can finally get a world championship run in front of the audience to show that he's really like that, because he did win the world championship, but he had it for a cup of coffee, you know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that, you know, eventually Drew will get his shine, because he deserves all the flowers in the world, and Seth obviously is great as well. Seth was the MVP of WrestleMania last year, might I add you. Sami Zayn versus Gunther. Good match. Don't know if it was the correct winner, though. They kind of sacrificed, well, not even kind of, they sacrificed Chad Gable for Sami Zayn for some reason. Chad Gable had the best storyline, even though I'm not like a big, huge, crazy Chad Gable, like, super fan. From a storyline perspective, it made all the sense in the world for Chad Gable to be the one to defeat Gunther, because he had the storyline, gave Gunther, you know, some of the best matches he had during that reign as IC champion. This man literally said that he was gonna, you know, get justification for making, you know, Gunther, you know, making his kids cry, you know, when he lost to Chad Gable, basically. Or when Gunther defeated Chad Gable, sorry. Chad Gable wanted justification for that, for his kids being there in his hometown and everything, and it just seemed like, you know, they had a storyline with that made sense, but they didn't capitalize on that for some reason. I don't know. I guess they just didn't believe in Chad Gable to be that guy. That's just my assumption. Maybe I could be wrong about that, but they pretty much had Chad Gable train Sami Zayn, and then Sami defeated Gunther, who was on that legendary run as IC champion. And once Sami Zayn beat Gunther, I knew Chad Gable wasn't going to be that guy, because if you think about it, it didn't make sense for Chad Gable to beat Sami Zayn, because if Chad Gable couldn't beat Gunther, then Sami Zayn beats Gunther. How am I supposed to believe that Chad Gable can defeat Sami Zayn when he couldn't beat Gunther, and Gunther is one of the most dominant superstars in the company? So I'm supposed to believe that Sami Zayn can't beat Chad Gable, but he can beat Gunther? Like, it didn't make sense to me in my mind. So I knew Chad Gable was pretty much kind of done for after that. I never fully believed he was going to win the Intercontinental Championship after that, because it's like, this guy can't beat Gunther. Sami Zayn just beat Gunther, and you want me to believe that he could beat Sami Zayn, who just beat one of the most dominant superstars in the company, coming off a legendary Intercontinental Championship reign? Yeah, I'm not buying it. Whoo! Yeah, this match was trash. Trash, bro. One of the most hyped up and anticipated WrestleMania matches that flopped, bro. Now, Jimmy and Jay wrestled the same style, so I guess for some people who called it, said that match was going to be doomed from the beginning, you're 100% right. I mean, that match was doomed from the beginning, bro. Like, the story build was cool, but when that bell rung, it just didn't click, bro. Like, it was not clicking, man. It just, yeah, it wasn't clicking well, bro. Like, I just feel like maybe it's because their styles are so similar. I don't know, man. But the whole brother versus brother aspect, it was cool for them to do it and everything. I know they wanted that moment, so congratulations to Jimmy and Jay for getting that moment, you know. But yeah, that match did not live up to expectations at all. Oh man, this match was very mid too, if I'm being honest. This tag team match, this was just a thrown together random match. It felt like Santos and Dominic versus Rey and Andrade, which we thought was going to be Dragon Lee, then we thought was going to be Carlito, and it wasn't either of them, which led to the Carlito heel turn and stuff like that. But yeah, this match was just randomly put together. It really wasn't anything that spectacular. It was very mid. The ladder match, honestly, I feel like the ladder match was kind of mid too, if I'm being honest. That might be a hot take for some people, I guess, depending on who you ask, but that ladder match, I feel like could have been a lot better. That's not one of the best WrestleMania ladder matches that I've seen, at least. I've seen a lot of great ladder matches through WrestleMania history. You're talking about the Money in the Bank ones. We're talking about, of course, Razor and Shawn. I mean, we're talking about a lot of good ladder matches. You know, WrestleMania 31 and 32 for the Intercontinental Championship. And this one didn't move me at all, bro. I mean, it was cool. I'm glad they split up the tag team titles. That was the correct decision. But as far as a match, nah, it was very mid. I'm sorry, bro, if I'm being completely honest, man. No disrespect to anybody involved in this match. I just feel like this match should have been a lot better than what it was, to me at least. This tag team match was good. It was long. It was like, oh my gosh, I think 40 minutes long right here. But Rock, Roman, Seth, Cody, anytime The Rock shows up in WWE, it's going to be box office. It's a big deal because his name value is very high. The story build was very good, even though they did have to pivot and go in a different direction, which was the right decision. They made the right call on that. That was a very smart decision. So kudos to everybody involved to be smart enough to understand, looking at the playing field, reading it very well. The match was good, though. I thoroughly enjoyed the match, fighting out into the crowd and everything. The Rock took some bumps and all that stuff. You know, the selling was great. The story was great. Really, really enjoyed that match. It was long. Maybe they could have chopped 10 minutes off the match. I don't know, but I personally enjoyed watching it. I thought it was a very entertaining match. And, of course, this is in the elite category. Now, I'm only putting this match in the elite category because the elite category is very particular. Like, when I put this in the elite category, I'm talking about one of the greatest WrestleMania matches in history. I think Roman vs. Cody 2 is the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time now, bro. Like, before, you could say Austin Rock, maybe Cena Rock, maybe Streak versus Career, maybe the Iron Man match, Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior Ultimate Challenge, maybe Roman Cody 1 before this. I mean, depending on who you ask, right? Everybody's answer might be different, but to me, unanimously, this is the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time, bro. The last, 5 minutes of that match was pure cinema, one of the greatest wrestling moments ever. But even before that, counting the build, it's one of the best builds ever. It had people fully invested. It was super unpredictable. Even though people probably were more on Cody's side winning this time, it was still very unpredictable to me because Roman Reigns was like Thanos of WWE at this time frame, where a lot of times you thought he was going to lose, it didn't happen. So there was always that fear in the back of your mind, like, I don't know, man. Like, what if it doesn't happen again, bro? Like, this guy, every time we think he's going to lose in these big matches, in these big environments, he finds a way to win, man. So I feel like there was that fear always in the back of people's minds, whether they want to admit it or not. That's just my personal preference on that. But it's definitely in the elite category. This is one of the top 10 greatest WrestleMania matches ever, and it's a top 10 WrestleMania main event, top 1 WrestleMania main event to me personally. So I can't put any other matches in the elite category because they're not on that particular level to me. But everything else, WrestleMania 40, I think, lived up to expectations. There's more good than bad on this show. There's really only one match on the show that really bombed that I'll never go back and rewatch again, and a match that I think was really, really bad, and that was Jimmy versus Jay. Everything else, There was some mid in there a little bit, but I feel like you're probably going to get a little mid in every WrestleMania, right? But there's a lot more good than bad on the show as far as stories and matches, and that shows right here. So WrestleMania 40, I think, was very special. Now, can WrestleMania 41 particularly be better than this Mania? I think a lot of people got to wait and see, man. I feel like a lot of people were undervaluing this year's WrestleMania because the build had been a little confusing, and, you know, we just weren't expecting the directions they're going in right now or have gone in to be what WrestleMania's turned out to be, and I think that's okay, man. Like, I like the matches they've announced so far. The triple threat between Roman, Punk, and Seth, the world title matches for the men and the women, Randy versus KO, and then other matches to be determined, like probably Logan Paul versus AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. I'm hoping they still do the multi-man tag team match with the Profits, Pretty Deadly, Motor City Machine Guns DIY, and Legado del Fantasma. I'd love to see that. I'm still hoping maybe that Bayley gets involved in something, maybe Liar for the IC title. I mean, I don't know particularly. I thought Bayley was probably going to go into a feud with Roxanne Perez, but doesn't seem like that's likely now, unfortunately. So I like what they have so far, though. Like, out of the matches they have currently right now, I like what they have, and I think this year's WrestleMania could potentially be better than 40's, man. We just gotta wait and see what happens. Greatly appreciate you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more wrestling content right here on this channel, you can click the video right here below. If you want to see the No Name Wrestling Podcast and check that out, you can click the playlist right here to check out every single episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.